Hey all, today I'm going to talk about the reason why so many guys are just not getting any matches on Tinder, or if they are getting matches, why they're struggling to get women out on a date or continue talking to them. It's called the Tinder arms race. What is the Tinder arms race? What is it all about? And why is it making Tinder a living hell for so many guys? Keep watching to find out. So way back in 2012, Tinder popped onto the scene and it exploded. It exploded because it was just such a ridiculously easy way to pick up women. Like, it was like shooting fish in a barrel. Like, any guy almost, any average to above average guy could jump onto Tinder, throw out some basic photos, and start getting matched with really cute women in his area and start going out with them and hook up with them or date them or whatever he wanted to do. And it was easy. You could do it from home. You could just like super swipe and you could like get a whole bunch of matches. You felt really good. You had these great conversations. It was awesome. But as it exploded and as it grew more and more and more, more people joined and more people joined and more people joined. And there were, millions and millions of people like using Tinder, like hundreds of millions. It just grew so quickly that something happened. And that something is that Tinder suddenly became harder and harder and harder to get results on. But the quality of the women got better and better and better. So what was happening? What was going on here? Well, first of all, in the early days of Tinder, the people who were using Tinder were, I say myself and dating coaches when it came out, we were watching it. And it was obvious that the women you meet on Tinder were, let's call them online dating early adopters, right? So they were a little bit more desperate than your average chick. They were socially a little lower in the pecking order. Attractiveness-wise, yeah, they were okay. Cute, but not amazing, right? That was your early adopters for women. And so they were super eager to meet a guy and super eager to talk. They were really quick to adopt Tinder. Tinder just really got a lot of women on board. That was the big thing that Tinder won at, is it got women on board, whereas no other dating apps usually struggle to have women users. And so that's why a lot of, back in the early 2010s, you had a lot of dating websites getting pinged for having lots of fake profiles. I know you guys are going to jump on board and say, Tinder's full of fake profiles. What are you talking about, bro? I can't find them. When I look and I try different cities, I don't find, there are some, but I don't find many fake profiles. I can't find them. If you can prove to me, make a video, send it to me, I'm more than happy to view it, but I can't prove that there are many fake profiles no matter how hard I look. But back then there really were a lot of, because they needed to make guys believe women were using it. But with Tinder, there were actually women using Tinder, and that was so cool. And that meant that the ratio of man to women was pretty good, was pretty even. But what happened as Tinder gained popularity and men saw other men getting results is, of course, all these men jumped onto Tinder. And a lot of women jumped on too, but there's a big difference between the way that the men and the women were using Tinder. You see, men on Tinder were trying to match with 30, 40, 50 men, women, match with them, right? And then try to date all of them, even though there's no time in the world to talk to that many women. But it was about numbers, and try to screw as many women as possible. And right, so the veracity and the sheer numbers of men who were using Tinder for a large amount of time was way greater than the female usage. And so that meant that every woman using Tinder might use Tinder for, let's say, half an hour a day. These are just figures I'm making up here for a second just to illustrate a point. Right, women might use Tinder for half an hour a day. They'd have conversations with 5 different men, right? And they'd try to go on 3 dates in a week. The average guy is trying to swipe on 500 women. He's trying to get 30 matches, talk to 30 different women that day, and try to line up 30 different dates. So even though we still have a close to 1-to-1 ratio of women to male users on Tinder, it's just the guys are just there's so many women they're trying to match with. Guys just aren't being picky. They're just casting this massive net. Now, what that meant was that a couple of things. One was that women got to start to become the choosers on Tinder, right? And this created an arms race amongst men. In the wild, the silverback gorillas, they're really massive and the women are really tiny in comparison. Kind of started to create this effect where in the beginning, an average photo of you would be fine because, there's some guys using it, some women using it, not a lot of competition. But all of a sudden, guys started to wisen up and they thought, well, yeah, I can get 10 matches with this photo, I can get 30 matches, I'm going to use this photo. And then other guys thought, well, if he's using this photo, I'm going to have to use this photo that's better, or do this thing that's better on Tinder, or do this thing that's better on Tinder. And we started to get this arms race. Just looking at profiles for a second, guys had to start looking better and better and better. And I don't just mean genetically better. I mean the quality of their photos, the quality of their profiles start to have to really compete. It's a little bit like, if you go to, the difference between if you go to like your local fish and chip shop and the photos they have of their hamburgers, or if you go to like Hungry Jack's and the photos they have of their hamburgers, right? It doesn't matter that the local fish and chip store has much nicer hamburgers, probably, than Hungry Jack's. The point is the Hungry Jack's burger makes your mouth water more because they're just better quality shots. They're displaying an item in a better light. And yet you keep going back to Hungry Jack's, right? A lot of people do, right? It's a very popular place, or McDonald's. And so the thing is that, or a Burger King for you American people. So the thing is that women aren't getting disappointed that the shots of the guys aren't exactly what they look in real life. They're still returning to those guys. So it's this reinforcing arms race of better and better quality profiles. And so that means, of course, guys come into Tinder and they just put up a regular photo again and no woman wants to match with them. And they feel like, crap, I just must be so ugly, no woman even wants to meet me. But that's not true. That's not true at all. The truth is that you just have to compete. You've got to compete on a higher level. And you can get upset and say, well, why should I have to compete for a woman's attention? I'm better than that, rah, rah, rah. Well, then fine, get off Tinder and go approach women in real life. I mean, that's what I started teaching. I mean, I still do teach. That's the bulk of my income is teaching men to talk to women in real life. But that's hard slog. I mean, you got to really work hard to build the social skills and the self-confidence to do that. So you're going to have to work hard anyway. So, you can work hard on yourself for Tinder. You can work hard on yourself for picking up women in real life. I've done both in my time. So yeah, you can't get upset about it. You've got this arms race going on and guys have to be better and better and better. And then what happened was, it's not just the profiles. So women might match with 20 guys and you've got this phenomenon where a woman matches with you and she barely talks to you. Well, that's because she's matched with all these guys and she has to decide who she wants to invest her time in, because men's wants and desires on Tinder are different from women's wants and desires. I mean, even a woman who wants to hook up on Tinder, she wants that experience to look differently to how most men want that experience to look differently. And I'll give you an example. My girlfriend and I, we were in an open relationship for a while. And so we both turned to Tinder. It was an easy way to get hookups without going out and trawling in clubs and stuff, which just feels a little bit more weird when you're in a relationship. So we hopped on Tinder. And, Tinder was fine for me, Tinder for her. She had this problem, was that originally she wrote in her profile, hey, I'm in a relationship, so I'm in an open relationship, so not looking for anything too serious. Message me if we get along, let's meet. Something along those lines. I don't remember exactly what she wrote, but it was pretty clear. And the issue she had was that guys were then, she wanted to just meet guys, attractive guys, and hook up and have fun. But the issue was that she also wanted she wanted to feel like she was interesting, uniquely interesting or special, or she wanted to have some interesting conversation with the guy as well. Like she didn't just want to meet up and shag and go a separate way. It had to be something of an experience to warrant her to want to have sex with the guy. I mean, sex for women is never just about the sex. So you got to understand that. And so men weren't treating her the way that she wanted to be treated. So this is true for all women. So even women on Tinder who want to shag, they're being picky about how the men behave and talk and interact with them, regardless of if he's attractive. And so even in conversation, you have to develop your conversation skills. You have to be funny. You have to be engaging. You have to be, you have to tickle her funny bone. You have to build rapport and connect. These things are all, generally speaking, still pretty important on Tinder. And yes, you can get your lucky matches. But the truth is that the competition is out there. I mean, you're competing, and women get to have a choice. They get this choice. And women get this choice in real life too. But in real life, there's just less competition because most guys don't dare to go out there and actually have the balls to approach. So yeah, if you don't want to get caught up with that whole game of I shouldn't have to put up the effort, then you're in the wrong place. Get off Tinder. Get off online dating. and go and approach in the real world. But you don't want to do that. You want to approach on Tinder. So man up and start learning the skills to get better at Tinder, to compete in the Tinder arms race. Because honestly, it's not hard when you know how. I mean, I've got an online course that, I'll link to in the comments below. And I teach men how to take really great quality shots. And I teach men how to organize those shots so that the profile appears in the most appealing way possible. And then how to create conversation and banter and stuff in the conversation that makes women want to engage and want to keep talking to them and want to actually go on a date with them. Now, it's not hard with a little bit of practice and when you know how. And honestly, I don't think it's something that you should be shying away from, because these are skills you're going to use everywhere. I mean, let's face it, LinkedIn is a little bit like Tinder, right? I mean, LinkedIn is a business network for meeting people, but it's the same thing. You're creating a product and a profile to sell yourself, something that looks really good to someone looking in. The whole world is moving in this direction. And I think it would be insanity to say, I don't want to work hard on Tinder or Bumble or Hinge or any of these online dating apps, really, simply because you don't want to put in that effort. It's a skill. It's a life skill, and it's going to be a life skill going forwards. I mean, don't get me wrong. Being able to take great photos of yourself, I'm sorry, but that's the future. It is going to be the future, and not just in dating. It's going to be the future in most aspects of your life. Heck, it's a thing in it's a thing in everything. Presidential campaigns, right? Political campaigns, and new companies when they get started, like startup companies, right? They get professional photos of their founders. If you want to apply for investors in a company, right? The quality of your video, right, on your Kickstarter campaign or something, that's a marketing. That's got to look good. It's showing yourself off. This is life, and I know this has become a bit of a rant, but this is what you're going to have to do on Tinder too. And so use Tinder as your way to learn this skill and then succeed in life with that skill forevermore. Honestly, guys, Tinder's not that hard to get okay at. I know that it's a looks game, but even if you're below average, there are things you can do to get her attention, get women to want to interact with you, but you're going to have to put in the effort. Get over it. That's another thing I want to quickly talk about is guys get angry and they say Tinder wants to stop guys getting matches so that they'll pay lots of money to get matches. Tinder's not doing that. And I'll tell you why I know Tinder's not doing that. Imagine you're using Tinder and you're not getting matches. So you pay money for Tinder Gold to start getting matches. Well, guess what? If you're not getting matches without Tinder Gold won't get you matches. Doesn't work, unfortunately. So you pay for Tinder Gold, you still don't get matches, or barely any. Are you going to keep paying for Tinder Gold? No. See, the guys I know who pay for Tinder Gold for month after month after month after month, okay, are guys who already did well without it. See, I use Tinder Gold. All my coaches use Tinder Gold. And the reason we do is because with Tinder Gold, you get lots of matches. Without Tinder Gold, you get lots of matches already, right? Because we've got great profiles. With Tinder Gold, we make it absolute killing. You get the hottest of the hot. You get the best profiles by far you get matched with. It makes a huge difference. And we keep paying month after month after month after month because it works. Because it does the trick, on a product that already works. So yeah, the only guys who get ripped off by Tinder only pay once. And that does Tinder no good. Your little bit of, what is it, 10, 15 bucks a month or whatever it is, that means nothing to Tinder. They want you to pay for 6 months straight, for a year straight. That's what Tinder wants. So yeah, don't get me wrong. Tinder's not trying to rip off people. Women aren't trying to rip off people. The fact is, if men would just be a little bit more choosy in the first place about the women they wanted to talk to or the women they tried to match with, then we wouldn't have this massive disparity. And women wouldn't have, I guess, some of the power of choice in Tinder. But the truth is, men aren't being picky. And if men on average aren't being picky, someone has to be picky. So it's going to be the women. That's what's happened. No one's being evil. There's no conspiracy. There's no rudeness on the company's part. That's just how it is. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I know that some of what I've said could ruffle some feathers. It could annoy some people. If you really want to work on Tinder, go and check out my course that I've done on it. It's results guaranteed. If you don't get the results you want, you can get your money back on it. Check that out. But let me know in the comments below what you think. Do you disagree with me? If so, why? Don't just say F you and die or MGTOW, forget about women. Give me a logical reason why. Let's have a discussion about it. I'd love to hear from you. So that's the Tinder arms race. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a fantastic week. Take care.